Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Let's talk about prophecies that are sometimes, and in this case, possibly, hopefully, delayed. Delayed prophecies. Can prophecies be delayed? Well, you have to understand that God is in no hurry. Even the Bible says that He is long-suffering, not willing that any should perish, but all should come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. In addition, we have 720 people fasting and praying every Tuesday night, midnight to Sunday, or till Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. And one of the things they pray for is that this judgment will be delayed. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, first of all, a little bit of a background. Part of, if you listened all the time, you heard part of this. But we're going to make a different point today. First of all, the primary thing, Dmitry was told the fall of America will start with an internal revolution. I believe we are in that internal revolution. Internal revolution started by the communists. That started by the communists is people like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, the New York Times, and many of the other corrupt, fake media. Started by the communists, some of the people will start fighting against the government. That's already happened. They're fighting against each other. But just wait. It'll turn to be fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two of the countries, which I believe is probably going to be Iraq and Venezuela. It's a long story there, but let's keep going. I also want to remind you about the two cows. I think I may be the only one that has ever seen this. At least I was the first one to talk about these in terms of their prophetic implications. Now, not just the two cows, but their prophetic implications. However, someone sent me an email today, and someone else apparently has picked up on my understanding of these two cows, and they're basically saying the same thing and agreeing with what I've been saying since they came out. So, first of all, two cows. A black and white cow was first published by the Associated Press on September 25th of 2014. It has a pristine, a perfect typewriter 7 in the center of its forehead. Right between its eyes. And it was announced to the public on September 25th of 2014. And a solid red cow was actually born on September 25th of 2014. And it has kind of a scribbled 7 on its forehead. Now, the point is, they both have a 7 on their forehead. One was a black and white cow, I believe, meaning 7 years of plenty. And the red cow has a scribbled 7, I believe, meaning 7 years of famine. They were both released to the public on September 25th of 2014, which just happens to be the 49th Shemitah. Now, that can't be an accident because a Shemitah is a 7-year period. Now, again, I'm not predicting anything here. I'm just simply interpreting if this is of God, and I personally believe it is, then this would be what the two cows are saying. The black and white cow would be saying, with the pristine 7, would be saying there's 7 years of plenty. And the red cow with a scribbled 7 on his forehead is saying 7 years of famine. Kind of like your books are in the red, you're in trouble, okay? And if they are a warning of God, it would be saying that they started September 25th of 2014. So let's take a look at that. If there's 7 years, meaning the last 7 years of plenty, started on September 25th of 2014, add 7 years, and you come up to 2021. Well, what does that mean? Could it be that it's saying that the possible fall of America or a possible end of 7 years of plenty would come in 2021? Now, please understand, I am not predicting anything. I'm simply giving you if the prophetic cows are a prophetic sign, and I personally believe they are, but if they are, then it would be saying 7 years, maybe the last 7 years of plenty, started September 25th of 2014, followed by 7 years of famine. Now, I'm not saying that 7 years of famine is necessarily the tribulation, but if it is, that would mean that 7 years of famine starts in 2021, i.e. maybe 2022, and concludes in 2028. And if that is the final 7 years of famine, if it is, that would be saying that the return of Jesus would be sometime in the year 2028. Now, let me say again, let me give you a disclaimer. I'm not saying 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. I'm not saying that 7 years of plenty started in 2014 and that America falls in 2021 and Jesus returns in 2028. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just a messenger. I'm just the messenger boy. I'm just simply saying if they're of God, and they appear to be. In my opinion, they appear to be. If they are, that would be the interpretation. Then we go to the next sign. Thursday, July 19th, 2018. May not mean anything to you, but history may record that as one of the most significant dates in all of history. Why? Because that is the day that Israel became a nation. You remember Israel became a nation as a state. It was called the State of Israel, 1948. And in 2018 is 70 years later. And if that is what it's saying, then it may be saying that Israel is only going to exist 80 years. And if that's true, well, that would mean that Jesus would return in 2028. Now, you can't make all this stuff up, okay? So we got two things that's kind of saying pretty serious here. All right, hang on. There's more. Friday, October 5th, 2012, we had Shane Warren come in and speak and make a DVD that I think is awesome. If you haven't got it, you need to get the DVD, which, by the way, you can order at prophecyclub.com, or you can go watch instantly at watchprophecyclub.com. He says that there's a 400-year judgment cycle, and it is interesting that the year 2020 just happens to be 400 years from when our forefathers, before they even got off the Mayflower boat, signed the Mayflower Compact, November 11th of 1620. 1620, add 40 years, add 100 years, you wind up at 2020. Also, 2020 happens to be 40 years from when God spoke judgment on America to Dimitri Duduman. That means, so we have two things pointing at 2020 that might mean the end of judgment or the end of patience, maybe a way to another say it. In other words, 400 years of judgment cycle concludes in 2020. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that America is going to fall in 2021 or 2020, but I think it does mean that God's supernatural hand of protection will be removed in 2020. Shane Warren is the one that says America's judgment arrives in 2021, and he said that openly. Then we look at the State of Israel starting in 1948, and then them becoming a nation in 2018, 70 years later. So we got to say, well, what happens in 80 years? Then you go to Matthew 24, verses 32 to 35. Now learn the parable of the fig tree. Fig tree is Israel. When its branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer, I can't even talk today. Summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it, meaning the return of Jesus, it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation, what generation? The generation that sees Israel become a nation, or in this case, the State of Israel become a nation, move from State of Israel to Nation of Israel. This generation shall not come to pass till all these things be fulfilled. Is Matthew 24, 32 to 35 saying that the generation that sees Israel become a nation will not pass until Jesus returns? Okay, now look, enough disclaimers. I'm not trying to set any dates here. I'm just a watchman. I'm just trying to be a good watchman and warn you. And there is something to be warned of here. Is it true that Israel will not make it past 80 years? Is it true that this generation that sees Israel become a nation is the generation that's not going to be concluded until Jesus returns? Well, then we go to Psalm 90. Now, if you read through the whole chapter, it is, in my opinion, no question, It is talking about date setting. It has words like generations, before, everlasting to everlasting, thousand, yesterday, past, watch in the night, morning, evening, consumed by thine anger, wrath, years, past. The whole chapter is talking about dating. Then you look at verse 10. The days of our years are 70. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow. For it is soon cut off, and we fly away. The question is that verse saying and hinting that Israel will become a nation 70 years after she became a state? Could it be saying that by the time Israel becomes 80 years old, she will be cut off and fly away, meaning the kingdom of Jesus is set up and the nation of Israel is no more? And I might add, none of the nations are anymore, because the nation, or the kingdom of Jesus, overcomes all of the other kingdoms, and he sets up a kingdom that will reign forever, will last forever, will never fall. Okay? Could it be saying that? Well, it's just like when someone criticizes you. Okay? Aside from how it might hurt, at the end of the day, we've got to step back and say, okay, is there any truth to what they're saying? Is there some adjustments in my life that need to be said? Same thing here. We got to look at some of these prophecies, brothers and sisters. We can't just ignore them. We can't just toss them away. We can't just say, oh, no, that's just rubbish. Look, I don't want to believe it either. Okay, let's be honest about it. I don't want to think that America is going to fall in 2021, and I certainly don't want to think that Jesus' return is as soon as 2028. But we got to be honest here. We have to take a look. We have to say, all right, look, could it be? Could it be? Okay, what are you going to do with two cows, September 25th, 2014? Black and white cow for plenty, red cow for famine. What are you going to do? And that just happens to be on the 49th Shemitah. That's not an accident. Okay, what are you going to do with it just happens to be 400 years from when our forefathers signed the Mayflower Compact, and in that compact it says we're starting a new nation for the furtherance of the Christian faith. There is a 400-year judgment cycle. Could it be that God only gave America 400 years where he would have his hand upon this nation? Could it be that this nation comes to an end in 2021? Look, I don't want to believe it. I mean, I want to think that I've got time to go over and drill my wells. I still want to build the land of unwalled villages, a place for the woman to flee. I want to have sports stadiums. There's lots of things I want to do for the Lord. I don't want to believe this. So please do not say I'm saying it's going to happen. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be praying against it. But on the other hand, we can't throw it out. We can't. August 8th, 2015, as I've told you before, I heard the audible voice of God say, this is the time of miracles. And he then began to download in my heart that as the judgment hits, as things start falling apart, as emergencies hit, he's going to show up. He is going to meet the devil step by step, inch for inch, pound for pound, everything he does. Then, July the 6th, Prophet Sundar Salvarez has 4 angels visit him. And the 4 angels say that miracles are about to hit. And that even the 4 angels have never seen miracles like are about to break out on the earth. What are you going to do with that? Just throw that away? No, I don't want to believe that. Well, we want the miracles, but you have to understand there's a two-sided coin here. The miracles come when the judgment hits. Oh, well, I want the miracles, but I don't want the judgment. Well, good luck with that. But unfortunately, we've got this in the mouth and now, 2 or 3 witnesses. 2 or 3 witnesses that are saying, this is what's coming. And the exact wording, took me a second to find it here, powers of the age to come. The angels. 4 of them. And look, you start lying about maybe I had a dream, I didn't have a dream, I had a vision, I didn't have a vision. maybe that's one thing. But you start lying, saying an angel came to you, in this case 4 angels came to you and said this, you don't live long past that. You don't throw the word of God around like that and get by with it. So it's pretty serious. And those 4 angels told him that America had been given a respite. Respite is a short unit of rest from something unpleasant. The angels said that miracles are about to happen. It's the new powers of the age to come. So we're about to step into a new age, brothers and sisters. Could it be that the age we're about to step in is what we call the tribulation? Could it be we've got 2, maybe 3 years before we step into the, quote, powers of the age to come? The new powers, what we would call miracles, but the angels called them powers, the new powers of the age to come. Could it be that's about to happen? And could it be that that happens as trouble hits? All right, let's talk about that a second. This comes from Terry Bennett. Terry says, 5 or 6 years ago, I had an experience. He says, I saw in this dream the Lord and Satan were sitting at a card table, and they were playing a card game. Now, let me just interrupt here. I have thought about this countless times. In my opinion, I don't think that there is a question this is of God. I think it's helping us to understand what God did. It was not the Russians that intervened and put Trump in the White House. It was the finger of God. So listen to what he says. So Lord and Satan were sitting at a card table, playing a card game. Satan had the perfect hand, I would say, like Hillary. And with all of the FBI, the DOJ, and all of their insurance plans, they had the perfect plan. They had it all set up. That's the reason they were so shocked when all of a sudden Trump won. Because they had it all set up. They were cheating. They were going behind the back. And they had it set up that Hillary was going to be in. Satan had a perfect plan. It was a royal flush. It was unbeatable. And he was going to play his hand out in our nation. The Lord, he was looking for a small card. And he was kicking back in his chair, relaxed. And his right hand and his right arm were on the card table. His other hand was over the back of the chair. Satan was really gleeful. He was all excited about his hand and what he was going to do in this nation. But right before he began to play his hand, he felt like he was going to go first. On the right hand of the Lord that was on the table, the Lord put his index finger down and said, one moment. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a card appeared in the hand. In the right hand of the Lord, he slapped it on the table and said, it's a trump card. And he trumps the entire hand that Satan had. He leans across the table with a big smile on his face and says, deal with it. And that's how it ended. It deflated Satan instantly. The Lord put that on the table, and I mean he slapped it forcibly on the table and leaned over the table and said, deal with it. I mean, it totally deflated Satan. It was 2011, and whatever it was, I know because at least at the time, I had not been thinking of Donald Trump being the trump card. So I wasn't sure. But it was my friend who travels with me, and he brought it up to me last year, and he said, do you think that dream could have possibly been speaking of Donald Trump? Well, let me just say, I just hung up talking to Lindsey Williams, and he's just come out with a new DVD, which, of course, all of his DVDs are very good. And I said, so tell me, I haven't got to watch your new DVD yet. Essentially, what's in it? He said, essentially, that the elite say they can do nothing. They cannot do one thing about their goals of world government, the goals of seeing America fall. They can't do one thing with Trump in power because they have no strings attached. They have no control over him. He's a man that can do what he wants to do, and he has the power, and they can't do one thing about it. They can't stop it. which, by the way, I got an email from somebody the other day and said there's been 12 attempts on Trump's life. You know what? I believe it. And there's probably going to be some more, which is why I pray for him and recommend you pray for him every day. Pray that God will protect Donald Trump, his family, staff, and presidency from all harm and evil, expose all tricks, traps, and traitors and take them out, and Robert Mueller and remove him. Do not let them take Trump out, and give him 8 years, help him drain the swamp, kick out the scorpions and snakes, and heal our land. In Jesus' name. I want to believe that God has given us more time. Genesis 15:16 says, "But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full." I want to believe that God has given America more time, that perhaps the iniquity of the Americans is not yet full. You know, Revelation 18 describes America, and it says she's going to be the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Now, I don't know the hearts of men, neither do you, but God does. But in my opinion, as I look around, I don't think we're up to being that evil yet. Of course, as the gray-haired generation dies off and this new millennial generation comes up, it may be. So, how much time do we have? Well, you remember Shane Warren, October 5th, 2012, said that, here's the good part, by the way. He said silver is going to skyrocket far more than gold. By the way, I'm not giving you any financial advice. This is a program on Bible prophecy, okay? He also said a great revival is going to come. And, of course, that's kind of what I was told. As the judgment hits, so will revival. As the devil pours down torment, God is going to show up with his miracles. He was also shown that many are going to return to the church. Now, listen to this, a little bit of good news. I saw God prospering many people greatly, acquiring things of great wealth, a transfer of wealth coming to the hands of believers. Brothers and sisters, right now our economy is doing better than, well, I'm 64, better than I've seen in my lifetime. I mean, unemployment is at all-time lows. The stock market's doing good. We have, as a matter of fact, right now they say more jobs than we have people for the jobs. I never heard of that. He says, I saw the incredible changes in the prices of currency. I saw silver, not gold, but I saw silver begin to drastically increase in value. Not gold, but silver, he says. Now, the bad part's what he saw. He says, I saw Iran, Russia, and China will conspire to kill the dollar. Well, I'm working up some more information on that, but we just canceled the Iran deal. Of course, it's no secret Russia wants to see us down. And it's no secret. I mean, China is openly telling people that they want to be the next America. They want to be the new America. They want to grow. They want to take over everything. And, of course, part of what Shane Warren was shown in a vision is that Iran, Russia, and China were actually conspiring to kill the dollar. And Shane Warren was told that when they begin to sell oil for gold, hear that phrase again, when they begin to sell oil for gold, that's when the dollar is going to fall apart. Well, just, 2 days ago, they just had the sanctions snapback, as they call it, snapback sanctions on Iran. And Iran says, we're not going to participate. Matter of fact, the EU and China are now trying to sell gold or sell oil for gold. So if that continues to grow, if God allows that, maybe even God is causing that to happen, that could tank the dollar. The dollar tank, the dollar devalue, and all of a sudden miracles begin to break out. And remember, see, we've talked about this. Let me continue on here. He says, I saw major rioting. He says, it was like war in the streets, people fighting each other. People demanding entitlements return. He says, I saw the devaluing of our dollar, and it caused rioting in the streets with signs saying, I want my entitlements, I want my entitlements. He says, in this meeting, I saw world leaders were talking about how to devalue the American currency by buying oil with another currency, and they finally concluded the best way to do it is to buy oil with gold to be able to go around the U.S. dollar. He says, I saw great inflation taking place. I saw an economic storm. Riots began to break out. Major cities all across America broke out in riots. People were rioting in the streets and on their signs, give us our entitlements. Give us our entitlements. Well, you see, we want the miracles coming, but we have to understand that those miracles show up because the trouble shows up. And let me read this part. This is from Shane, too. He says, I saw the devaluation of the currency in America by buying oil with another currency, and then they switched to buying oil with gold, actually killed the dollar. Well, I just got another article this morning. I don't think I have time to read it here. No, I don't, but I perhaps in the next day or so. And it's talking about how Iran is now trying to sell their oil for gold. So a lot of the things we've been talking about, apparently I don't know that it's weeks away. It may be only a few years away, but I think we're going to start seeing the miracles. That's the good side. But unfortunately, it's going to be at a time when there's some trouble going on too. Oh. One more thing I got to tell you. Okay, so let me explain the difference briefly between the WatchProphecyClub.com and Watchman'sTrumpet.com. WatchProphecyClub.com is up and live right now. You can go and subscribe, $20 a month. You can watch up to 160 DVDs, and we're loading more as fast as possible. Or $200 a year. And that way, if we go up, or as we go up on our monthly subscription, if you've bought a yearly subscription, then you got a better deal. However, Watchman's Trumpet is different. Watchman's Trumpet is going to be an email program. This is where you go in and you pre-purchase credits, you pre-purchase the viewing of the various Prophecy Club DVDs. Then you send gift certificates or gift viewing. It's kind of like handing someone a ball game ticket saying, hey, you want to go to the ball game with me? Except for you're saying, hey, go ahead and watch this DVD. I've watched it, and this is what I really think of it. Well, as you know, we've hired a company to write that program, and that program is almost written. Now, I promised to send them $5,000 a month, and frankly, I'm a couple of months behind sending them that $5,000. So if you can help with that, we can get Watchman's Trumpet up and going so that you can email gift viewings of our DVDs to your friends, and I think it's going to go like wildfire. It's going to allow people around the globe to begin to hear about Prophecy Club DVDs. Now, if you can send a gift for Watchman's Trumpet, please let us know it is for Watchman's Trumpet and or put a 7, let your last digit on your gift be a 7, and we'll know that's for Watchman's Trumpet. And if you want to help us with WatchProphecyClub.com, go there and sign up, $20 a month, and you can watch 160 DVDs. It is the very best deal we've ever had in 25 years of being in the ministry. In the meantime, yes, it's still summertime. Yes, we do still need your financial gifts. And Lord, as you have blessed the people out there, also speak to their heart to support this ministry. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. Dr. Bree Keaton just made a brand new DVD. It's called Is Trump or Patrick Henry? Now, it's not a political talk. Bree's mother was a descendant of the patriot Patrick Henry. She reveals shocking, never released private family records, bloodlines, and gives you the true story of how God used Patrick Henry to save America. She helped me to see more clearly where we are and where we're going, because most of history has already repeated itself. I promise you will like this DVD. Is Trump our Patrick Henry? ProphecyClub.com.